Welcome to Human Resources for the People. It's a human capital revolution. If you like what you heard today, please like, share, and subscribe for more content about people-centered HR. Screen Actors Guild and the Joint Policy Committee have decided to extend the Commercial Production Safety and Testing Protocol Agreement. This is pretty interesting because the Stage Actors Guild is, obviously the most famous acting union that exists. It's the most popular. It's the biggest, and they have the most power. Well, they're continuing their COVID protocol now. Obviously, some protocols are understood, but let's take a look into the what the actors have to deal with if they want to work with SAG. That you have to deal with is a test right before employment. Obviously, I can list a number of actors in SAG that have talked about my body, my choice, but that does not preclude you from having a COVID test shoved up your nose every time you start a new job. And you have to do it within 2 days before you start work, either with a PCR or two rapids. Or if you can't do that, you have to do it as close to the beginning of work as possible. Then, once you're at work, you have to have a test shoved up your nose again for every 2 working days, which is wild. It really is. I mean, I've absolutely never had to be tested for work. I'm sure there are people out there who have. I feel for them. But it is absolutely wild to have to be tested every 2 days, symptomatic or not. Next, if you do test positive, the producer could choose not to hire you, uh, which is also unbelievable. But it seems like SAG is giving their power as a union up to to the management, right? But it says that producer may establish a policy that is consistent with CDC guidelines if it chooses to hire an individual who's subject to the following. And these people, who have, it does say that they will uh, need not to be tested if they've tested positive in the past. If they get symptoms during the 3 month period, then they may have to test, even if it's not after that date. The next issue for this is the health assessment survey and temperature checks. Now, if I told you that SAG was living in the past, I think many people would assume, I don't know, the 1950s, but clearly they're at least living about 2, 3 years ago now. They want they want people to do a assessment survey prior to each workday, and then they want to do a temperature check at least once per day. Those that don't pass the temperature check, have to get a recheck after 15 minutes. Uh, this is wild. I think most businesses figured out really early on that this was not an effective way of checking someone, of figuring out whether or not they had COVID. It really wasn't an effective or meaningful way to prevent COVID. So it's absolutely astonishing that a union like SAG would ever consider this and extend it to 2020 or to March of 2023. Finally and lastly, they still require PPE, which is interesting. Hair and makeup personnel have to wear a face covering in addition to a mask while present when a performer is not wearing PPE, which includes face coverings, face shields, and or goggles. If it's reusable, they define whether or not it's supposed to be, whether or not it's your own. Obviously it makes sense, and allows people to bring their own. Finally, they have a czar, uh, a COVID-19 compliance manager, which is required for all productions, which frankly, if I had to guess, this is why it's still in place. it's creating a job. It's a great way to just, simply keep another union job going and keep people uh, paying their money. But it's absolutely absurd. This is the rules that the union, the Screen Actors Guild Union, and the Joint Policy Committee have agreed to follow until March 31st, 2023. They said that since the protocols were implemented, they have proven extremely effective in protecting those from COVID in the workplace. I don't think that that's accurate. I don't think that it's based in any science. It seems purely speculative, but I think it's too funny for Screen Actors Guild to be acting like it is again 2020. They are truly good actors. If you're interested in this or hearing more, let me know what you think below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Have a good day.